Sean just said that you guys knew you'd play better in the second half, but there wasn't concern necessarily at halftime. What were those few minutes like? Kind of the attitude is different through that half.
Well, we knew it was going to be a patient game. They don't lead the league in yards and points for no reason. They're a good team. It's not by a fluke. So we knew it was going to be tough sledding, but I thought we did a good job managing the situations, and we played a little bit of a field position battle there at the very end. And we knew it was a matter of time till there was just a drive that we went down and scored and had a big one in the first half, big one in the second half, and then led to the field goal there at the end. So we knew it wasn't going to be easy, but we also knew our defense was going to play really well like they did. And so they changed the game for us, and they pretty much led the entire game and made stop after stop so that we could go down and finish the game.
Can you tell us about that big run you had there late?
Yeah, so we've given that kind of play style a few different times, and they'd seen a couple of them. And, it's one we want to move the pocket and get a new launch point, change up the pace for those edge guys. And, we got out on the end and felt like everybody was running over there for the pass, and there just ended up being a good lane. And, finally got to be able to use my legs there at the end. They did a good job of closing lanes and, rushing, keeping me in the pocket there for a while. But finally that movement, I think, caused a little bit of a lane in the defense. And then it was just all about, getting all you could. And at that point we were in field goal range. We just wanted to get closer. But that was a really important play for us on that last drive.
Well, John said at halftime that everyone's expecting to win, even though the situation you were in. Has there been a shift where the team just expects to win every single game now?
We are at the point to where we expect to give ourselves a chance to win every game, and we're going to expect – the expectations are that we're going to compete and find a way, however it looks. We've had good-looking games. We've had bad-looking games, but, it's I've never, obviously been on, many teams, but this is a good win streak, and it's we've won in many different forms and fashions. So I do think the expectations are different. I think we understand what it feels like to have confidence that we can go in there and win against a good team in a tough environment on the road in the league. It's hard to win on the road in this league, and it's hard to do it continuously, but we're just finding ways to do it. And we found another way today, and so it's just good for the character and the continued development of the team.
And you talked about the defense and how good they played. They had those two goal line stops for the Texans on one, didn't get in the end zone. What does that do for an emotional shift for the entire team, not just?
It's huge. It shows their competitiveness. It shows you their toughness and grit as a defense, and then that just kind of turns over to us because, if they're going to play like that, if they're going to get stops like that, we owe it to them to go down there and, we're responsible to go put points on the board. And they held them enough times to where we could go do that. And it wasn't pretty, but we knew it wasn't going to be, and it turned into a field position battle there at the end. Like we had talked about all week, it was going to be about field position, and sure enough it was. And we just made enough explosives there to get 3 points at the end.
Time for a few more for Bo.
You said a second ago you won in different ways, 33-44. This week you kind of grind it out. To be able to win in different ways, what does that do for the team's mentality going forward?
I think it goes back to the earlier question. It just proves that we can win tough games, and it proves that our mentality can adjust to where we expect to find ways to win. And it's, I think, a really good issue to have is when you're finding these ugly wins, because I don't think it'll always be like that. And sometimes maybe you'll win bigger and you'll find it easier. But for right now, the ugly wins are how we're doing it. So that's just what we're going to continue to find ways to do it. Now, obviously, we got to improve in many different areas, but the ugly wins are they're important. They're important down the stretch, and if you can find them and you can win these one possession games, it helps you in the future. Because I feel like all playoff games and tough games in the postseason are one-score games. You got to learn how to win those.
Well, Sean said that y'all never talk about running the ball instead of looking downfield. As long as you're following your eyes, I'm not going to say anything to you. But do you, we've had today, do you think maybe that should have ran it there? How often does that cross your mind?
Sometimes I think it's always unfortunately for me, it's a result-based decision, which isn't where you want to live. But to me, it's always like, I probably had an opportunity to, take it down and run. But I thought they did a good job. They were the pocket was constantly moving. They, changed up their pressures. They didn't just rush in one lane and give, me rushing lanes. And you could tell that that was a big thing for them because they continued to switch up the pitch that we were getting. But in saying that, our O-line did a great job of keeping me in the pocket and giving me a pocket. So it's always hit or miss. Sometimes you have more opportunities than others, and you definitely don't want to go looking for the rush lanes because then you get your eyes down, you miss the big ones. So it's like I said, it's a happy balance of hitting it when it's open, and then going maybe 1, 2, 3 in the read, and then getting it down.
Well, you talk about that.
Can you just take us through? You miss Evan down the left side, and then you go right back to court the very next play for the touchdown. Did you just know that was going to be there after seeing the Evan one?
No, I had a feeling they'd switch up their defense, which they did. That first one, Ev, we got the nickel into the boundary. Evan did a good job of running a good route, and he slipped inside, and I tried to get it up and down before that safety could get over there, and probably threw it a little bit too early. Let him set the angle a little bit more, and then put it on him. But then the next one, we had a different coverage, got more of a man. Nickel was away to the 3 receiver side. Court ran a great route getting inside, and then the safety stayed a little bit more to the middle because we had more population over there. So, he ran a good route, got up the seam, and then it was all about giving him a good adjustable football so that he could go up and get it like he always does. So you don't hit them all, even though like anybody else, I wish more than anybody I hit them all. But unfortunately, sometimes you got to, miss a few, and then you just learn, and then the next time just get more air and make sure you see the post safety. But it just happened to be back-to-back. Didn't really have an effect on the play, I don't think.
Last one, Sean.
Thanks. Teammates talk about your competitiveness. Where does the short memory come from, the ability to come back when you had 3 quarters of struggling, dig in different ways, keep that win, but always getting that target you had?
Well, it's never feeling like you're out of the fight. I've learned a different kind of patience as I've grown. In high school, I was not very patient. It was like an every drive thing, and if I got off the field and we had to punt, it was like the end of the world. And in college, it was learning how to win certain battles and field position, and just getting completions and checking it down and moving to the next play. And you just have to eventually learn as a quarterback how important that next play really is. And if you can just get it to it in a better situation than you were the play prior, then you did your job. And so I've just learned how to get to the next play better. I've learned a little bit more patience as I've gotten older and more mature and experienced in the game of football. And each level, I just feel like I've been able to learn a lot and grow a lot. And I'm definitely not the same as I was this time last year, much less when I was in high school. So I've come a long way. Still got so much to learn, which is the fun part. But I'm going to continue to work and not stop until I maximize my potential. Don't know when that'll be, but I'm excited because there's a lot to learn, a lot to grow from. It gives us another opportunity next week to go out there and change it up, but I'm sure we'll learn from the mistakes we make next week as well. So I just learned how to be a little bit more patient and go into the next play.